Okay.
Hi, friends. Hi, friends. Welcome. Super excited to have you guys here. We're going to start with, please go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us who you are, what you do, your role, and where you are. And then also what motivated you to be a part of or to continue to be part of the Adult Numeracy Network, because we actually don't all know each other. So it's kind of fun to get to know who's here. While you were doing that, I will also note, you'll see on this opening slide, we're in the middle of near the end of the election of officers. And so if you have not yet voted, that QR code will take you there. And I can also cut and paste that direct link right in the chat for you, so that if you haven't voted, you can take this opportunity to do that. Thank you for writing an article for the Math Practitioner, Christina. We love getting new articles. Okay. Reminder that this is recorded and we'll send out a recording and then links to all the files that we're sharing today as well. We are the Adult Numeracy Network. And so if you go to the next slide, Brooke, and hi, everyone.
I forgot what I'm supposed
That's
to
okay. I forgot to say, because I'm so used to driving and I can't drive because my power's flickered twice. So I'm a little nervous. All right. So yay for folks who are here. I'm super excited. Because we're the Adult Numeracy Network, we like to start things with math because we think it's kind of important to math together. And so we're going to do a handful of, I have more slides than we may actually use, but this way you get to have access to these things later. So we're going to start with 3:00 p.m. and 4:00 p.m. are the same time. Is that always, sometimes, or never true? Think about that for a second. Get your answer between the always, sometimes, or never. And then also think about your reasoning behind your answer. So I'll ask you to go ahead and put in the chat your always, sometimes, never, and your reasoning. So I already have a depends and a sometimes and another sometimes. And Erica says always. I love it. I love it. I am going to posit always. And here's my always, right? Right now where I live, it is 3:04 p.m. Right? What time is it where you live, Brooke?
Same. We're in the same time.
We're in the same time zone, but is anyone here
Oh,
from
wait.
this time
Mine says,
zone?
I'm sorry, I'm joshing you. It's 2:04. I just looked at my computer.
Yeah, because you have it set to be on time with me, right?
Right. Yes, I do.
So Brooke and I can manage to get into a meeting at the same time, even though it was 3:00 when we started, or 4:00, right? It could be 4:00 somewhere and 3:00 somewhere, because it's the same time in Central and Eastern time zone at 3 and 4:00, right?
Mhm.
So different time zones are different for all sorts of people. And Sarah, are you in Mountain?
Me, I am currently in Pacific time, but we're sometimes Mountain.
Yes, because those places where they can't decide where they want to be, and
No, we stay steady. We never change our clocks. Y'all are
but
weird and
everybody
change
else
your
switches
clocks.
around you.
You
Yeah,
just decide it's going to be a different time and change your clocks.
and you don't. That's right. You
You
live in
don't.
one of those places that doesn't do the madness. Yep. So this is a fun one. We could argue about this one for days, but it is always 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. at the same time in some next door to each other time zone, right? Depending on where you are in your time zones. So it's kind of fun. All right, next one. Always, sometimes, or never true. Numbers with fewer digits are worth less than numbers with more digits. I'm getting lots of sometimes. Does someone want to unmute and give me some reasoning behind sometimes? And Christina has asked an interesting question in the chat that might factor into the sometimes. Worth is doing a lot of work. Yep. So we got places, right? So sometimes, because a negative number, right, may have fewer digits, but be worth much less, right? -6, right? We're not adding them together. It's just the digits in the number, Patricia. What a great question. Aaron, I love it. Worth, value as in worth, is a whole other ball of wax, right? Depends on what kind of score you're trying to get. If you want the lowest score, right? Maybe that has a higher value. So that is one interpretation of that, right? Christina has the example of -6 has fewer digits than 234,567, right? But it is definitely worth less in terms of value, right? So this has to be a sometimes, because you have examples where fewer digits are worth less and some where fewer digits are worth more, right? So anytime you're kind of thinking, depends, that's probably a sometimes, right? We've got time for maybe one or two more, so go ahead. Next slide, Brooke. The mean and the mode of a set of data are the same number. The mean and the mode of a set of data are the same number. Sometimes, right? It depends on what set of data we've got. Sometimes they're the same number. Sometimes they are wildly different numbers. Sometimes the mean and the median and the mode are all the same number, right? And sometimes there are three different numbers. It just depends on the variance in your set of data. Kind of fun. All right, next slide. We actually might get through all of these. If A has more digits than B, then A is greater than B. What's different about this one? I'm getting lots of sometimes in the chat. What is different about this one, though? I've added those pesky letters, right? The variables are in there, right? And it's more formal notation, right? It is more mathematically precise, right? Because we had a similar always, sometimes, never before, right? Where it was about the number of digits, but it didn't get quite so technical, right, in its language. So you can do the same one or a similar one and sort of up the ante in terms of mathematical language. And then last one. Always, sometimes, or never true. Quadrilaterals with four sides of equal length are squares. I'm getting some sometimes. Someone give me some reasoning. Chrissy's like, I can't think of one. So Lori starts with a diamond shape, and then Erica throws out rhombus, which is the mathematical term for what we think of as a diamond shape, right? Right. So 4 equal sides could also be a rhombus. We've already come up with an example of a quadrilateral that is not necessarily a square, right? But a square can be a rhombus. And I like that you did that with a, I think. A square does meet the technical definition for it to be a rhombus, but not all rhombuses are squares. Yes. So, and depending on your inclusive or not inclusive definition of a trapezoid, and we really could argue about this one for hours, but we don't have time to argue about the inclusivity or not of trapezoids today. So we are going to leave that there. That is a nice noticing, Cynthia. That is the way the meeting was set up. And I did not, we had a hard time getting this meeting to set up and stick. And so I went to heart all the things in here, and it is not going to let us because of the way the original meeting was set up. So my apologies for that. So we got old school Zoom today, but we're all in, which was much more important than some of those things. Yeah. So we can go old school today. Thank you all for mathing with me today. So thank you all for introducing yourself in the chat. Super excited to see all of you here. We are from at least several time zones today. I'm not sure if we have anybody from a different continent. Sometimes we do. So welcome. I can't see everybody. So it's super glad to have everybody here. This is an opportunity for us to report out on our work from the past year. To finalize our election of new board officers. We're very excited about that. And we're gonna ask for and share some ideas about what awesome things we want to do to continue through this next coming year. So I appreciate you guys all being here. I know other folks on the board do as well. We are super excited to be the professional organization that supports and advocates for math teachers in adult education. This is totally a time when that is needed. And we look forward to helping make our network stronger and to be stronger in community with each of you and to think together about ways we can make a difference in some of the craziness that's going on right now. So thank you all for being here. Next slide.
I think this one is me.
That one is you.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Heidi Schuler, past president. Really excited to have this large group with us today. We have a lot on the agenda, and this is pretty standard fare for our annual meeting for those who've been before and those who haven't. If there's something on here that you want to know more about, feel free to interrupt, ask some questions. We're very informal during these meetings, so feel free to launch a question at us in the chat or come off mute. I want to share, Brooke, if you'll advance one action on this, thanks. Several years ago, the ANN board met in Minneapolis, and we went through strategic planning time to evaluate what we wanted to look at focusing our energy on in the coming years with the Adult Numeracy Network. And these were the 5 strategic planning goals that we set out. And these 5 things are really what motivate and drive the committee work, the board members, the conversations, the ideas that we have of moving forward with the organization. I want to kind of address number 5 in particular. There's a lot going on in current administration with policy. And that's one area that I think over the years we have felt like ANN needed to spend a bit more energy and time. And we've been going in different directions for a number of years, but this year feels really, really pertinent. And just wanted to emphasize part of the work that we do as a collective membership, but also as the organization, is we partner with other organizations like National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, COABE, and the National Coalition for Literacy. And Adults Learning Mathematics. These larger organizations or partner organizations also speak toward policy in many ways. And part of the work of being a member is to also connect in those realms and to share your ideas. And we try to share out the information as we learn it. I got to be at the NCL meeting along with Cynthia. Cynthia has been our board rep for a long time at NCL and appreciate her for that. And I got to go back in May to a meeting in DC where we talked with some staffers on the Hill about the policy and about adult education and the importance of it. And it reminded me, being in that room, there aren't a ton of mathy people or organizations that represent math in that group. And so we're still helping to emphasize the need for math and numeracy in the conversation with literacy. And so our presence is important there. Cynthia's been carrying that mantle for a long time, and I so appreciate, Cynthia, what you've been doing there. And I think when we're talking about the work that we have been about in this past year, policy and advocacy are at the top of my list of things I feel like we've been spending a lot of our energy toward, particularly at COABE, sharing the documentary, which we'll talk about later as well. But just want to highlight these things and let you know that we do have organization to our system, and these are the things that guide us in our work. And if there's something on this strategic goal that is speaking to you and you're like, that's my jam, I really appreciate being a part or being able to harness the energy of community and getting people involved, we could use your help. We are a small but mighty group of board members, and it takes a lot to do the things that we do. So as we're learning about the organization, see if there's something where you can jump in and help advocate for some of these strategic goals. So next slide, I think, is D.
It is. I realized I didn't officially introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dee Crescitelli, coming at you from Frankfort, Kentucky today, where it is storming, of course, because that's all we do in Kentucky right now is get storms and flood. So right now it's not flooding, but it is storming. This is our current board of directors you see on the screen here. And it's taken directly from our website. In case you want to contact anybody after the meeting, all of our contact information is there. But I will also say that we are currently electing some new folks for this. I'm going to put that link to the board members in the chat so that members, if you ever want to contact us, that link will always take you to the most recent set of officers. We are currently electing secretary, membership chair, equity officer, and secretary. And that election closes shortly. And I put that link in at the very beginning of this meeting, but a handful of people came in after we started. So I'm going to put that in again real quick for everyone. It did not copy. We'll try that again. There it is. So that last link that I just put in is the link if you have not yet voted on that election. We'd love for you to have your voice in that. So please go ahead and do that. I will also note that the asterisks that you see are folks who are presidential appointments. So those are not elected positions, but ones that the presidential team gets together, has discussions about based on nominations of folks who are interested, and we make presidential appointments for those. And now I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has served on the board, folks who are continuing and not. Thank you so much for sticking with us and working really hard through this pretty interesting academic year. Lots of changes, lots of things going on in lots of our workspaces, and lots of uncertainty in adult education in particular. And so I am super proud of the work we have done. And super excited to have been working with some of the most amazing people on the planet. And I get to be in Zoom rooms and sometimes in person with some pretty amazing people. So thank you all very much for that hard work this year. And then I want to specifically name 3 folks who are leaving their board positions, and not all of them are here. I think some of them are here. But Brooke Estes, who is driving the slides today, is leaving us as secretary, having served 4 years as secretary in some other roles. She's going out with a bang, sort of running all the things in the background here today. So thank you so much for that, Brooke. Amber has been serving in multiple roles as well, and she's leaving as the NCTM rep this year. And Amy Vickers has been serving as equity officer after having served in some other roles in the past as well. And I just want to thank everybody for all of that hard work. I don't know what we look like without those three, but we will figure out what it looks like without those three in the near future. And I wanted to give any of those folks who are here, the opportunity to have anything they want to share with us about their experience or words of wisdom. Those will be much appreciated. So if you want to speak, the floor is yours. And if you don't, you can just say no, thank you.
If I had to give words of wisdom, I would just tell all the people that are joining for the first time, or maybe have just been members and not joined the board, that you should consider being a part of this great group of people on the board of directors. I know that our time is always so busy, and it seems like you just can't put one more thing in. But when you're working with this group of people, it never is just one more thing. Like, it's more of a family getting together. And so I'm going to miss being on all the board meetings, but as I mentioned before the recording started, I'm sure I'm not completely done.
Yeah, we can find you a job. I'm not worried. I know that Amber is in the middle of moving states, and so she is otherwise occupied. And Amy is on her way traveling to visit her parents. So she will be the nearest to me. She will be in a very long time. And so I hopefully will get to catch up with her, because she will be in Kentucky by the end of the night tonight. But I know she is on the road. So thank you all for all of your hard work. And I'm super, super, super glad to have worked with you guys this year, and look forward to working with new folks and old folks into the next coming year. And for those of you who are membership, who are here, some of you here for the first time for a meeting, welcome, welcome. I know lots of people have said that, but I will say that again. But I encourage you to consider a nomination for next year, or joining a committee. We'll talk some more about those committees in a bit. But yeah, this is a pretty collaborative group, and we look forward to working with members on all kinds of things. And so joining the board, joining a committee is a great way to connect with other adult educators around the country as we work to support each other. So thanks, y'all. Next slide. All right.
Nope. One more. Oh, there we go. If you haven't voted yet, please vote. This is a quick spiel on the nominating committee. I am a co-chair as past president. Lakshmi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello. I actually can't see myself. Can you see me? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It's really weird to look and not see myself. Hi, everybody. I've been working on the nominating committee for a couple years now, and it's actually very interesting. And this spring, we got a little behind with things because, as we all know, there's been a lot going on, but that didn't deter some really great people from stepping up. And so we have some new people stepping in, I think. And of course, Mark is, what's the word? Incumbent. So Mark is the incumbent for his position of webmaster. Thank goodness, Mark. And then Christy Johnson, who's here on this call, is running for equity office. And then Monica Harrelson from Louisiana is running for membership chair, which is actually a new position. And Lori Lundeen from Oregon is running for secretary. And we don't have anybody for NCTM rep, so that will be a presidential appointment. And on the ballot, there's a space for you to write in any suggested names, including your own name, if you should feel So moved. So in terms of the process, Dee and Heidi and others kind of put the word out and spoke to people, and people were recommended, people were directly spoken to. And after they had indicated interest is where I stepped in and met with each person online, obviously, spoke to them, answered their questions, wrote up a profile for them based on the answers they had submitted on the application, met with them again to refine that. And then that's what you see up on the website that you can read to learn about them before you vote. It works. It's a good process. It's fun to get to know people, and I'm excited for the people who will be joining the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakshmi. And kudos to Lakshmi for helping out meeting with each of the candidates. I apologize. Dee and I did not get a chance to meet. The three of us are the nominating committee, but time crunch and way too many things on the calendar. We weren't able to meet with the candidates like Lakshmi had. So apologies to all of the candidates. That's not how we would like to onboard or introduce ourselves to it, but I completely trust Lakshmi and the questions that you had, that she was able to answer them. And I love that she creates this profile for us. This was her idea years ago, and it's a great way to gather the things that matter to you as a candidate and help the rest of the organization know why you're interested in being on the board, as if you don't have other things you might do. So thank you. So we're going to switch over to hear the treasurer's report. And while that's going on, we will close down the election. So last chance to vote before we move on. Grab it with your QR code or the tiny URL, the short URL from the chat. Brooke, I think you can move forward. On to you, Erin.
All right. Hi, folks. I'm Erin Liu. I'm in Massachusetts, and I am the treasurer. And can you refresh the the slideshow? Because I've been updating the treasurer slides as we've been presenting, and I have made some. It's good. I made a little change on this slide, but I made a really important change on the other one that I'd forgotten about. So, okay, good. Now I know we're on the right page. So, okay, you could go to the next slide, and yeah. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. So, so this is our financial snapshot as of May 12th. So the numbers now, because we're almost a month later, are a little bit different, but this gives you a general idea of how the year went. So, I don't think I'm going to go through all of it, but I'm going to give you a minute to look, and I will just call your attention to the fact that this has been an unusual year, both in terms of spending and in terms of fundraising. So we've exceeded our plans or our goals in both of those arenas. Luckily, we exceeded in fundraising by more than we exceeded in spending. So so it's all good. So let me pause here and see if there are any questions, and then I'll show you another slide that has some different details on it. We can also come back to this slide. So why don't we go on to the next one? And what you see here is a summary of our income and our spending for this fiscal year compared to last fiscal year. And as I said, this year was quite kind of special and different. We had way more donations. You can see that in the donations line. We also had way more spending, and the main reason that we had more spending is in the other column, or the other row at the bottom, and that was the money that we spent to bring Counted Out to COABE. So that is that's what that expense was.
And
So,
food. COABE, that documentary and food.
yes, yeah, we fed people, nourishing minds and bodies. So the food was, we had a lot of people. We were able to bring that awesome film to a lot of people, and we did need to feed them. So that's what that spending was. So yeah, again, I'm not going to go through every detail there, but we can pause on it and see if folks have questions. And this meeting is being recorded, so you can always come back and look at these more closely later if you want to.
Aaron, the difference in the website spending from last year to this year?
Okay, so the website, let's see. Our spending for this year, there's actually a note underneath. Our spending for this year were membership processing fees and domain name registration. So that's variable. The domain name registration is about $16, but the membership processing fees depend on how many people pay with a credit card and which credit card they pay with. So that's pretty variable. But in terms of paying for the hosting, we paid for it last year for 2 years of web hosting, so we didn't have a big expense this year. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks. I had expanded my screen so I didn't see the, the writing below. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
There's a big difference in membership drive. Is there a push later in the beginning of the new year for that, or?
Like in how much money we took in dues?
Yes.
Yeah. That is it's mostly due to when we get group memberships. So sometimes states buy a block of memberships at once, and let me check and make sure I have the right number there. But yeah, that is the right number. So it is, I think that's the main difference. If you go back to the previous slide, you can see that as of May 12th, so these numbers are a little bit different. We had taken in $2,415 dollars in dues, and that included a group membership from Minnesota. But last year we had 3 group memberships. So that was what made up the main difference there. Any other questions on either of those slides? You can also ask Brooke to go forward and backwards between them. And I'll also say, just, we are very transparent, and my contact information is on the website. So if later you think of something you want to ask about, you can feel free to reach out to me. And, I'm gonna turn it back over to whoever's running this thing.
Thank you. And that actually is not me this time. Well, it can be me. We are a nonprofit. So I lied because I'll do this slide. We are a nonprofit organization, and as such, that love that some of you are showing for those figures is pretty awesome, because we actually have to make our own money to operate this and do all the things that we do. And so some of what make you happy about those numbers are we had some good fundraising numbers this past year. And so we are very proud of that. But also note that we can take donations, and it's awesome that we can take donations, but we need those whether we're planning one big thing or planning multiple things. And so it's super awesome to get support from you, from folks that you work with, and from other agencies and folks that who might support the Adult Numeracy Network, who might support math education for adults out in the world. And so I've put a link into our donation page, which will take you straight there. If that is something that you would like to continue to help, because some of us donate little bits here and there, and those add up. But some of us know folks who really do get into charitable giving for important causes, and we think we're an important cause. So share that with folks. Next slide.
Okay. Thank you to everyone who voted. There were 28 votes. Unanimous decision across the board, literally across the board. Welcome to our new board members, Lori Lundeen from Oregon, representing what used to be, we used to have 4 different regions numbered, and this is a representation of all 4, actually. So Lori represents Region 4. The webmaster, Mark Truskowski, is Region 3. Region 2 is Membership Chair Monica Harrelson in Louisiana, and Equity Officer Christy Johnson in Massachusetts. So wonderful to have all the range of the country represented in these 4. Lori, Monica, and Christy are new to the board, so we are especially appreciative of you coming into this and asking great questions and sharing so much of your background with us to fill these roles. We look forward to working with you. Mark is, has done exceptional work on the website, so thank you for sticking around and continuing to grow that. Basically our front door, so thank you for that. And welcome any of the candidates. You want to come off mute and say anything? We invite you to share.
I'll say something. I'm Lori, and so nice to see you all. I've been a member of ANN off and on, and I've really respected this organization. Back in 2009 or 10, I believe it was, Donna Curry came out to Oregon and helped us rewrite our learning standards. And ever since then, I've been in and out of ANN because I know she was a big member of that and part of SABES and Turk and all of that. And I just feel like it's so important for us to be out and about and supporting other math instructors across the nation. And I'm really excited to get to know this group, work with you all, and help where needed. I did get to meet you all in Nashville 2 years ago and had a great time. So that was part of the impetus to join you a little more regularly. So thank you.
Thank you, Lori. I think I got to sit next to you even at the Nashville table. I enjoyed meeting you then too. Anyone else?
Well, I'm just excited. I heard about ANN through Patricia because she did training through in my area when I was working in New York, and I just loved the way that she thought and responded to me. Like I'll never forget. I wrote her and I said, I think this is wrong. Like something that the state had released, like a packet, and I was like, I think this is wrong. I've done it. My students have done it. We're getting the wrong answer, and I sent it to her. And she just asked all these questions. Oh, that's so interesting. Well, what about, and just, she didn't answer. She didn't tell me the answer. She just kept asking questions. And
So
eventually,
good.
yeah, I got it. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't, and I love the way that she asked those questions because it made me walk through my thinking. And then when I worked with the team that presented at CoLab, I felt that same kind of like the graciousness and that creativity and curiosity. And so I just love this group of people.
Thank you, Christy. It was great to have you co-present as at the Teaching and Learning Institute this year at COABE as well, and to meet you and heard great things about all the planning that you put into it as well. Any others?
Well, I'll just say thank you to everyone who voted for me, but also, and more importantly, I'm super excited to have so many new board members and to work with Christy and Lori and Monica. So great, excellent, thank you.
Yeah, that is great. It's also, I just want to note, we're talking about like Patricia is on here. Patricia served on the board for many, many years. What was it? 10, 19, felt like. As our newsletter editor. So it's so good to see you, Patricia. We have Linda Ginsburg on here, one of the founding members. Ido Gal is on here. Ido, are you in Israel? Yes, so there's our international representation.
So we are international today.
Yeah. I'm trying to scan through and see who else. Any others on here I'm overlooking from some of our founding members? it's wonderful to still have the support for, what are we in, year 20, nope, 27, 28.
27, I think.
Historian Mark, help us.
I think this is the 27th meeting. I don't know.
Or Linda, help us out. When was this?
1994.
1994. Oh my gosh, now we have to do math. Ugh, it's been a minute. So since 1994, you have been adding your voice and ideas to the group, still supporting us. So thank you to everybody. It does take a lot. But how much this group has grown, it's all because we're learning from the people who were before us. So many thanks to you. All right, let's move on to the next piece.
So what has ANN been up to? So this is a combination of people. And so I'll start with the 31st Annual Teaching and Learning Institute. That was definitely a group effort. Many of the folks on this current Zoom meeting were part of that work. But we put together a really good, I didn't think I was the person doing this report, by the way. And so I'm just going to say we did a really good job. The person who I thought was doing that, I do not see them. So just know we did a lot of really good work and put some really awesome things together. And then I am doing this part, but with Heidi. So we can divide and conquer this one. We, as an adult numeracy network, sponsor the math and numeracy strand at COABE. And as you've heard us say a couple times, this was a wild year. And so we did a lot of things as a presidential team. And so I worked with Janiyah and Aaron Liu in particular, but other folks did the presentation for that Teaching and Learning Institute. You'll see some pictures from that in just a little bit because it's part of another report. But we as a group also sponsor that math and numeracy strand. And this year there were 10 concurrent sessions and 1 pre-conference. We were all in one room with volunteers, and we provided both people support in terms of a TA assistance, but also materials that got to stay in the room and logistics support. But we pre-loaded those. We looked at all of the sessions that were submitted as math and numeracy and made decisions about what was there. Anything I've left out, Heidi?
No, I'll just put a plug. If you're not aware, COABE already has their call for presentations out. It's open until the end of June. And we will need some people to help be on this same committee, the Math and Numeracy Strand Committee, to help review those proposals during the summer. I'm not sure what the dates are yet. That's not been shared with us at this point. But if that's something you'd be interested in learning more about or be interested in, please reach out to me or Dee, and we'll talk you through. It's a volunteer position. Everything is volunteer position on this. But it's a lot of great work that goes into the front end so that COABE's Math and Numeracy Strand has successful rollout of great sessions. Next up. Okay. Who's doing that piece? The
math practitioner. We have the math practitioner person in here to do that. I think that's
Wait, Erica.
If you will click that link, Brooke, it'll open up her slides for her. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, this is my first year. I want to say I'm brand new, but it's already been a year. And Patricia, she's the one who brought me on board. I've been working with her for a few years, and she's here right now. I feel like my boss is here, and now I'm under pressure. So, we'll go to the next slide. This current issue hasn't been published yet. During this year was a difficult year for me as well. And I had some problems, and Patricia walked me through it, and she said, it's okay. We can be late and everything's going to be okay. And so the spring issue, my goal was to have it come out before it was officially summer, and it's in, it will be published soon. Next slide. So I really wanted to spend my time thanking people. I've got Rachel Rossi, my committee person, and Christy Johnson, I want to thank so much. And now that she is equity officer, I'm hoping if she is up to it and if she has time, she'll be able to still stay on the board with, stay on the committee with us. Brandy Tyson, and I also see Christina here, who also, wrote an article for us. I can't tell you how much they make. I couldn't do anything without them. I want to say I have the best team. And Patricia, she has helped me so much. And I know she's going to be, letting me run the show now, but she'll always be there to help me. And I can't say enough how much I appreciate them. Okay, next slide. So this one, we're focusing on the printable classroom ready activities, equity, creativity, and real world applications. It's like I said, it should be coming out very, very soon. And I think the next slide, I just did a clip of one of the pages, and that was at the pre-conference with Christy, and that's one of the pages. Any questions or concerns? So the one thing that we are looking into is going into Canva Pro. I have been playing with it a little bit, and I would like to streamline it into Canva Pro. There is a little bit of issues of it being printable. So, but we are looking into Canva, and our committee are going to be meeting soon, and we're going to discuss that. And I think that might be the last slide. Is there another one?
That's it.
That's it. Okay, I did it. Okay.
Nice job.
You did
Erica.
great.
I'm done.
Great. Racial Justice in Math Education Committee.
Are you gonna talk, Mark? I already spoke.
Sure, although I already spoke as well.
That's true.
Is there a slide that we have? It's okay if we don't.
Mm-mm. I don't
Was it
think
the
so.
it's not the next one?
It is the next one.
Oh, it is?
Or I think it's after, maybe it's after that one. Yeah. Maybe out of order.
Well, the next slide. So all
Yeah. So they just got out of order.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
slide 18. I
It's
see it.
slide 18. Yeah.
okay, there.
Hi everybody. Again, my name is Mark, and I'm the co-chair of this committee along with Aaron Liu. And so we've been meeting, or our committee has been meeting for about 5 years. We meet monthly. We kind of change our schedule around to kind of make sure that it's equitable in terms of who can get to the meetings. But currently we're meeting on the fourth Tuesday of every month. So we'd love to see you there. But I guess I'm supposed to be focusing on the work of this year. So this year we've been focusing on, like it says there, exploring the characteristics of white supremacy culture. There's a very robust website that kind of dedicated that we use as our main text. And we did a lot of reading and a lot of writing and a lot of discussing about understanding each of those characteristics, and how they show up in our lives, and also in our classrooms, and how they show up in math as well. So right now, kind of like last year, our focus was culturally responsive teaching in the brain, the book by Zaretta Hammond. And so what we produced from that, we produced kind of an article in the Math Practitioner to kind of share what we learned, some of our large takeaways. And so we're in the process of doing that right now with our year of digging into the characteristics of white supremacy culture. We're still kind of working on what form that will take, but it's been really fun because it's been a really long time that we've been looking and talking about this particular frame. So it's just been nice to go back and kind of synthesize it all. So there will be more that we'll be able to share. But the best way to share is just for you all to come. Any member is welcome to come anytime. Even if you're not a member, you can come and check it out and see how it feels. Regardless of what the text is that we're using. As I'm just seeing in the chat, Christy said, I've not read this book. The characteristics of white supremacy culture that we looked at, it's actually a website. So I will drop it in the chat, but actually, if you look on the slide there, these are both links to our website, but we have a committee page, so you can kind of keep up on what we're doing, but also look back on the things that we've done, and that's the pink QR code. And I'll put the actual link in the chat. And so good. So Christy, so the culturally responsive teaching of the brain, there's some resources there on our committee page about that book. So if you're interested, you can find it there. And also, because many of us are teachers, if the other QR code that's in black is the ANN website has 3 pages dedicated to social justice and math teaching resources. So if you're interested in kind of exploring those, you can click on the link. Oh, thank you, Dee. Dee just put the link. That's what the pink QR code links to, is the Racial Equity Committee web page. And yeah, Aaron, what have I forgotten? What would you like to add? You should add your voice.
I don't think you've forgotten anything, but I'll just add that when you're thinking about joining a committee, a lot of our committees on ANN are like, there's a job we have to do, and we need your time and your energy and your passion for that. And this committee, like the job that we have to do is huge, and there's not like a deadline, and it's really great. Like, I find it really nourishing. It doesn't feel like something that I show up to because work needs to be done. It feels like something I show up to because I learn, and that's part of doing the work. And yeah, I don't know if anybody else who's been to meetings wants to say anything, but I do really encourage you to come. Just, you don't have to, it doesn't mean you're signing up for a huge amount of work to show up to a meeting. Will meetings run over the summer? I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes me happy.
And also, if you want to come and you're not able to make it, please let us know, because at some point soonish we will be revising our meeting time, as Mark said, because we do want to move it around occasionally so that folks who are not able to make it at this time might be able to make it.
Do I have 30 more seconds? Do you?
You do.
Just to say, in terms of kind of what's coming next, the reason why we didn't put anything on the slide is because part of what we'll do as a group, like we have a structure for kind of thinking about what we're going to look at. So it's always a perfect time to drop in, but this is a nice time if you haven't been part. You can come and be part of those conversations about what we will be looking at and using as our central text. And I say text with quotes because it's not always like a written text, but okay. 30 seconds. Thank you, Dee.
You're very welcome. Brooke, if you can go back to that what has ANN been up to slide, perfect. And then the last thing that's on this slide, because then there's a big what we've been up to that is another full slide. But we get asked periodically to do presentations at state conferences. And so a couple of us presented at Louisiana at Lackey. And a couple of us presented for Literacy New Jersey. And so we got to represent us for that. No one's asked us about Alabama, Christina, at this point. So I don't know if anyone will be there. No one has asked. Great question. But generally speaking, we like when they want folks with some math expertise, we try to figure out a way to do so. Be awesome. All right, now to frame 18 or 17. Sorry, I switched them in the original. Okay, yay. So we've alluded to this a few times. I'm just going to say hooray for everyone who worked on Count It Out. It really was a team effort. Amy is not here because she's driving to see her parents. But she did a lot of the logistic legwork on this. But there was a committee of folks that met. This all started with a wonder what would happen if we could question. And what happens when you ask really good questions is sometimes you find out it's actually a little bit easier than you thought it would be to do something. And so we were able to bring a screening of this to COAB, as has already been mentioned. It was a lovely full room, super awesome discussions afterwards. Got to meet lots of really cool people. Folks from Dallas were able to join us. which made for very interesting conversations and tables afterwards as well. Just about ways that this can be important to work. If you have not been able to see this movie just yet, we're going to have a virtual screening coming soon, so stay tuned for information about that. Anybody else who was involved in working on Counted Out have anything you want to add?
Just huge thanks to people who donated for this, who put it, Janaya put it as a birthday challenge on Facebook and generated some donations from that. So it was a lot of people who contributed to the fund for this that allowed us to be able to show it for free and to feed people. And we had other donations that were not necessarily earmarked for this, but to support in whatever need we had. And so we were looking at how can we present this virtually to more than the 250 people that we had a license for? Could we do it multiple times? And who has not been able to attend because they didn't go to COABE? So we're thinking seriously about the majority of the teachers in adult ed who are part-time and are not able to attend COABE or have access to these kinds of trainings. What could we do to support them? And so it's from donations that we had this year that allowed us to dream big for bringing it in person. And now we can continue to dream for the virtual screening and welcome ideas and input from people who'd like to be a part of that.
Thank you.
I don't know if this was mine or Janaya's, but Janaya's not here, I don't think, right?
He is not, and I was trying to figure out what happened with that. Yeah.
Okay. So for many of us, our first intro to the Adult Numeracy Network was the COABE pre-conference, which is the Teaching and Learning Institute. Somebody said, hey, we could use your help and your ideas. Would you like to join? And that sucked us in immediately. And we get involved because it's such a fun event, but it's a fun way to really invest your time and energy with mathy people who are energized by this kind of work. There are lots of other ways to get involved. That one is pretty much a year-round commitment, starting now, planning for the Teaching and Learning Institute. So if you want to be involved, that's one way. But you can go on our fantastic website. Brooke, I think there are a couple of actions on this one. And you can look under the calendar, which viewing the calendar, it's about halfway down the main page. You can see what's listed and click on a lot of the links to get involved, like the committees. You can also go under the organization and search under those tasks. I think there might be one more action. Ta-da! Committees. That's where you can find it. If there isn't, each committee has a contact person, so you can reach out to them or any board member for that matter. Go to the next slide. The call to action for this. Long ago, Mark created this fantastic event that was at COABE called A&N Under 10. And it was a chance for people to share in under 10 minutes a story or a context for math and doing math and their experience with it, and then end with a call to action. And we are kind of living into that phrase. We used it at the documentary. We're using it at the end of our annual meetings because we leave this time where, for some of us who teach in a space where you're the only math person, it's this group that makes you feel connected to your people and to the things that you enjoy. And the annual meeting used to be the one time that we all were back together, including the board. Now we have the board meets quarterly. And so we get to see each other more often. It's a lot more fun. We want to give you a chance to be thinking about what could you be doing to stay connected, to stay a part of this work, ways that you have ideas on that we don't even know about yet because we haven't dreamt in that direction. And so these are some suggestions that are on here. How can you get more involved? You can join in committees like we mentioned. You can share your ideas at meetings like this. You can contribute articles. Some other ways to get involved is to invite someone else to be a part of it. I love seeing all these faces and names on here of people that I've not gotten to work with yet, but I hope I get to very soon. I want to mention also one thing that of those strategic goals was about research. And I'm going to drop in the chat some information about research. We don't have a ton of research for that we contribute as an organization, but many of us are involved in research in several different ways. And one of the things that allows us to do is to bring that information back to the organization and send it out to the membership. And sometimes we need help with the research. And so I'm putting in the chat one way you can get involved with the work that Adult Numeracy Network gets to contribute to by the nature of who we are. Our site gets looked at often by people who are just curious, what is numeracy? They search for it. We're at one of the top searches for that. And that pulls them into our front door with a website. This research project I put in the chat, the ASAP Adult Skills Assessment Project, we're in our 4th year of 5. It's a federally funded, hopefully still federally funded. We just met. It was still funded as of 2 days ago. It's a research project, and we've been working on a math placement test and some unit assessments for the CALM curriculum. And we need help for people to test it out, students, teachers. And so I invite you. That's one way you can get involved with the kind of things that ANN, by the work that we get to do, other people, including the researchers, hear about it. So there's a link at the bottom. It'll take you to the math placement tests as well as reading. They now have the reading tests out. I just learned about that this week. So that's a way to get involved with the kind of stuff where ANN is being recognized. What other ideas do you have about how to be connected? Sherry's saying in the chat, I've been a member for a little over a year, but I definitely want to get more involved since I pretty much just linger. Every once in a while, I join ANN workshops through the glorious Massachusetts adult ed system. Very jealous. Yes, the SAVE system, and you love it and you feel energized to stick your head into more ANN things. Great. Yeah, it's invigorating to be around a bunch of other people like-minded.
Yes, always. Always, always.
Christina, you were asking about ALAPKI, your state conference. That would be a way for you to get involved, is ask the leadership in Alabama if they would like ANN to present. And we usually, when a state invites us to present, we look for the ANN members in that state to contribute to the presentation. So co-present with us, or at least share ideas if you're available. Because we want the state to be invested in the person who's in ANN in their state. And I know we have other ANN members. You're at Gulf Coast. I'm blinking on her name at the moment. It'll come to me. Who's also down there in Fairhope, nearby. So yeah, we've got people there. I think that would be a great thing.
Is it right now?
Yeah, we did about half of it.
Raynell, I think, is in Louisiana. Is that right? Ito is sharing. I want to remind that connections can also involve the continued relationship with the with adults learning mathematics and other international organizations. Thank you for that reminder, Ito. And keep sending them info about virtual events, ANN newsletter, invite contributions to the newsletter from around the ocean. Ito, I went to the session that was in May, I believe it was, on the PIAC study, which was phenomenal. And I keep looking for the recording. It's not up yet, but I learned so much at that. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, my time, but I learned a ton. So yeah, eager to share that. But any other info that you want to share from around the world from your work with ALM?
Can I jump in for a moment?
Please. Yes.
Well, so hello to everybody. Sorry for joining late. Just to mention that since you mentioned the PIAC survey, many educators who work in the field are not aware of the results and the release of national reports. And the results from PIAC were released in December 2024. And in the United States, they were published by NCS, National Center for Education Statistics. And shortly afterwards, most personnel in NCS was slashed as part of the budget cuts by the Trump administration. So it might be a bit difficult to get to the information, but I think that ANN strategically should pay attention to PIAC because it provides a lot of a driving force, highlighting, skill gaps and percentages of people who are in need of education and so on. And I think that you should keep hammering some of the basic findings in a very simple way, publish it in the newsletter and elsewhere so that people understand that they are part of the solution to a national problem, and that there is a place for ANN in the grand scheme of the policy arena in the United States. And that's not something that is obvious to people who are not in the habit of reading any public report from any public organization because they're busy doing the job. So I will try to send something short and sweet for the newsletter next year, but I don't think that you should wait for me. There are enough very good people at ANN who should be able to write something. A one-pager would be wonderful.
Thank you, Ido. One way to get involved. Great.
Thank you.
I see Jania's here. Welcome, Jania.
Hello.
Jania is our
Hi.
president-elect.
I was 100% positive that I registered and had this on my calendar. So I don't know how it is not on my calendar, but I apologize for missing the meeting. And hello, everybody.
It's okay. We just assigned you everything. So you're all set. No worries.
Gonna be awesome. I am putting into the chat our call to action form. Heidi discussed with us already about how where that came from. But we really are stronger together, and it's really important that we continue to be stronger together. There's lots of ways for us to do that, and so this form gives you some ways to share some of that, so we can keep building the network, so that basically so that all adult education teachers know we're here, right? Because step one is just knowing we exist, because everybody doesn't know we exist. So please help share that. But also think about everything that's been shared today. Some of you have already expressed interest in some things that you didn't know about. So use this form to let us know what you might be interested in, what questions you might have, and if you have ideas you want to share, we really are interested in those. So fill that out for us, and we'll get in touch with you to help you get connected. If you say something in there that where you want to get connected with specific people or specific committees. Questions about that? All right, last slide. Brooke. Thank you all so very much. If you have any ideas or questions you would like to talk about, we will stay on for a few minutes after to chat. If you want to stick around and chat for what we finally call the ANN after party, feel free, but many of us have to get on to the next thing. So thank you so much. Thank you, Brooke, for driving the slides today, for working really hard for us. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you, everybody. Oh, it's so awesome to see all of you on one frame. I love it.
Patricia's still here. Patricia, so good to see your face.
Yay! I've missed you.
Yeah, it's good to be here. Getting me all excited.
I know. Ido, I was going to ask you, has the documentary made it into ALM? Have they had any info about it?
Which documentary?
Counted Out.
I'm not sure. There are not, there are ups and downs in their level of communication to the members. Newsletters go out every few months, not very frequently. And sometimes, how can I say, they have their own way of doing things. And so I cannot really predict or share a lot of information